Number 10. Free at last. The final holding, one more barrier to being free from this nightmare. The picture of patient 3 screaming, patient 145, her brown hair dangling, swinging uncontrollably, patient 155, still, twitching, and even darker memories like patient 10. The beginning of this, the child who knew Jacob. I haven't had time to consider such a thought. I begin to move on to patient 25, which stops me thinking of such dark memories and reassures me. It brings me comfort. I move onward to the final holding, the thought of seeing patient 25 again soon bringing me confidence in my steps. I push the holding door open for the final time, the all too familiar sight of nothing but an open cell door flashing before me. The bars ironically stopping me from reaching the end of my mission. I walk forward, pointing my flashlight to the holding cell room as I shuffle to the end of the cell door to close it for the final time. A realization comes across me that the colour that lines the floor has changed from a dark steel to a dark red. I try to avoid it, but my right foot has stepped on the dark blood. My heart quickens. I move closer to the centre. My light hits a body sitting at the back of the wall in the holding. James. I quickly realise that patient 77 is still free. He's not there. It makes my heart pound. I quickly look from left and right, the torchlight swaying slowly behind my vision. But I see no shadow, no sign or sound of a free patient.
"It's okay, son,"
I hear patient 25 echoing through me.
"Patient 77 is not here anymore. We have dealt with him."
I'm sorry, James. I speak out to the dead corpse with a sense that he achieved his purpose. I speak out to the dead corpse with a sense that he achieved his purpose. I grab the prison cell and shut James in, safe from harm. I reach the end of the hallway and a door is presented to me. I open it with my keys, then another hallway, and another door. It reads, "Restricted for staff personnel only." I push the door open to see another hallway, this time with 4 doors lining the left side of the hallway. I point my torchlight to the first door, which reads, "Medicine supplies in case of emergency." The second, "Restraining devices." Kinky. The third door reads, "Office chairs." Can't spare a new one for me, bastards. The final door reads, "Server room and power." The door is ajar with a dried red handprint that streaks down the door. I push open the door, revealing a room filled with racks of ports and Ethernet cables and switches, zigzagging up and down the racks like vines creeping and crawling through trees and foliage. I look to the ground and see the dried red streak heading straight forward and turning right. I move onward slowly, a sense of unease in the air, blocking my breath and making the silence fill me up. It becomes overwhelming. I put my hand on the gun holster on my belt just in case. I turn right through the forest of servers. I see a big lever that is pointed down. I walk over to it and switch the lever to an on position. A large hum vibrates through the room, making the mechanical forest come alive. Whirls and whooshes cutting through the silence that followed me everywhere. The stark fluorescent lights evaporate the shadows and darkness, leaving the cold servers behind, and on the floor a now bright red trail splattered through the room. My phone vibrates with a sudden spirit of life that I forgot about, jutting me awake. I reach into my pocket and bring it up to my gaze. The phone starts up, revealing Stephanie holding Jacob, laughing, smiling. I smile in return. The notification comes up which reads, "Warehouse under redacted ownership undergoes emergency power outage. Read more here." I shut off my phone and move back now, moving around the blood that lines the room. I reach the 12th holding that leads to James. I begin to push the door, but it won't budge.
"Please enter fingerprint."
A monotone electrical voice sparks out of the console. I present my fingerprint, and the once dead electrics spark to life, and the modern mechanics open up the holding in a creeping swing. I reach the middle of the prison cell as my radio begins to crackle through.
Hello, Matt. You've turned on the electric, the servers are back online, and the CCTV should be coming back online as well. Well done, Matt. That bonus and day off are coming your way. Congratulations.
I scoff at his gesture and look out towards James, dead in the prison cell, his arms dangling lifeless, the large pool of blood cascading towards me. Yeah, thanks. I try to speak with positivity but come through dull. I found James.
Oh, great, where?
Dead in patient 77's holding.
Oh dear.
He responds yet again, cutting me off, a bubble of anger simmering through me. I take a deep breath and carry on. I didn't see patient 77 on my mission.
Oh.
I cut him off before he can react with his pointless dear. I also shot patient 155 and I think he's dead.
Okay, Matt. Well, we are bringing in some guards and wardens from other warehouses now. They can search every orifice of the place. They will be there in about 45 minutes.
He exhales an exhaustive breath.
James was such a nice guy. If patient 77 is in there, they will find him and secure him, but keep your eyes peeled.
I realise now that my eyelids are heavy, and just how easy it would be to fall asleep, to see those glaring eyes in my mind again.
We will also watch on our CCTV cameras, which have just come back on. Oh dear God. So much blood. What the hell happened?
I don't know. It was like this when I got here. I turn around to the CCTV now. That blinks a light, and I shrug.
I'm going to be sick.
He gives a loud retching which crackles the speaker of my radio, and I hold it back. I crease at the noise, hoping the vomit doesn't come through the speaker. I await Soup's words as I walk now towards patient 155, who is still motionless. The blood that once oozed from him has stopped, and all that is left in his head is a hole, hollow and empty. It makes me look at the corpse in disbelief. Soup regains his composure and breaks my disbelief as he carries on speaking.
Look, Matt, shooting a patient will sadly dock your pay by £2, so your bonus is no more.
I look to throw the radio in frustration, but realise they're CCTV.
But Redacted is lenient, and will let you have half a day off at your next working day.
Great. So generous. I move forward, but before I leave the holding, the sounds of a subtle vibrating snarl send a shiver through my spine. I close my eyes, trying not to look back and see those glaring eyes that I've come to welcome. Then I move on, knowing I have finished my first mission. Number 11. The End. Pushing back through patient 145 and 3. Both are shouting. 145 screams out constantly, "Fire!" Patient 3, "You've doomed us all." The insane screams really gut hold. I ignore them, knowing I can leave soon and go home. I reach patient 132, but I will let Ralph deal with that. I finally reached patient 25. I buzz open his holding and give out a sigh of blessed relief. Patient 25 is scribbling on the walls. As soon as he hears my footsteps approaching, he drops his newly found chalk and begins walking towards the cell door. His orange jumpsuit clean and newly formed, and his face freshly shaven, the bones that were once jutting out in incredible angles is now covered over by a little more fat. I reach the centre of the holding and face him, his stares creased by a smile that warms my internal core and radiates over me. His smile continues, and I laugh at the warmth it brings through me. The stress and tension of what might happen in the future, or what I have just witnessed steaming off me. Patient 25 begins to laugh with me, and speaks through his chuckles.
"You've done a great job, patient 29.
Thank you.
Call me father."
I agree to his new name and bow my head in acknowledgement of what he's got me through.
"Now go home, 29. You are in need of much needed rest and break."
He breaks the silence and allows me to move forward onto the final 2 holdings. The boy awaits. His arms are reaching out onto the bars and his hands wrapped around them, his whole body leaning backwards like he did when I took my first tentative steps into the holding. I walk to the middle, unafraid of his swaying to and fro. which he does as soon as I stop and look towards him, his large lifeless grin greeting me. I give a slight smile, thinking of who awaits me out of the warehouse. "I'll see you soon, Peter." He stops swinging, cups his head in his hand, and begins to cry uncontrollably. His head bopping up and down, and tears drop onto the cold steel floor.
"I want to see my daddy,"
he cries out to me. I look at him in hope, but his cries lead me to begin to tear up, and they begin to flow down my cheek. "I know you don't belong here, but my father is near. Maybe you and I can meet him soon. He can take you in just like he did with me, and we can leave this place together." I look out to him with a wet smile. He stops his uncontrollable tears and breathes into his hand, then looks up to me, tears still filling his eyes.
"I would like that very much."
Epilogue. 3 hours passed unharmed. The black security men come and seek through the warehouse of patient 77, but they see no sign of him. "I know he will not be found," Father told me. They did find blood from James and patient 77 along the corridor to the power. There was no sign of struggle from James's lifeless body. When he went to check patient 155, he was motionless but breathing with no sign of a bullet hole, just a large purple bruise which quickly faded away. I got a full day off and no bonus. Those scum allowed me to keep my original salary, luckily. I'm looking forward to my day off. I can play with Peter and kiss Stephanie. Maybe I can introduce them to my new family, which doesn't reside outside of Warehouse 22.